Hello and welcome to the SC Playbook podcast out of NRL Supercoach Round 20, proudly brought to you by Mortgage Choice SCW. I'm your host, Tim Williams. The major buy period is in the rear vision mirror. It's now all systems go. The run home has begun to Supercoach overall glory if you are in the hunt. Otherwise, on the way to head-to-head finals to claim bragging rights over your mates, potentially a few cashies out there as well, to help get there and get your cashies, get them one, win the overall title. Doing it with us, as always, 2021's 91st placed finisher, the SC Spy. Spy, how are you, mate?
The arms are folded for a reason, boys. I've been halted once more. Bloody hell, the Sharkies. Obviously, there's every possibility they're going to come out and do a job on the Tigers, but I did forego both Mulatalo and Nickera, combined for about 698,000 points on Friday night. Not ideal. And to offset that, Marju and Brayley combined for about 46, so that wasn't great. Real frustrating. I've been pretty tactical through this period. I knew there was that risk with the Sharks, boys. Just needed to get through that 1 week, which I didn't. So unfortunately, instead of going from 3.5K to 2.5K, I'm back at 4,200. It's like my home.
Oh, good drop there. So what did you score? You were about 900 or tick under?
890 odd.
Yeah.
But frustrating, because sort of just needed to continue that momentum towards the top 1K and then see what we could do. But I keep doing this and then just dropping back and then up and down.
Yeah.
So bit of momentum needed, boys. But we'll see what we can do. A few trades up the sleeve, so we'll see what happens. On a brighter note, went home to Coomba Town. How bloody good was it? So the soul is refreshed and I'm good to go.
Mind's clear?
It's very clear. Very clear.
A bloke who hasn't had any trouble rising up the rankings this season, the 2019 NRL Supercoach champion, a bloke who I rarely agree with his trades, but I never doubt them. Dezzy Creek, the hot hand.
Boys, yeah. No, going well. Into the top 200 for the first time in a couple of years. So, I only had 9 trades going into the round, and I was thinking, there's no way I can trade here. Then I lost a few players. Then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to throw caution to the wind. I'm going to triple trade. I'm going to bring in Tommy Turbo, 119, Ruben Garrick, 103, Jaden Campbell, 111. If you take away those points, if I hadn't have traded, I said to you, I would be outside of the top 1,000 if you take away 400 points off my score. So it's like, do I want to be coming 1,000th or do I want to be coming 198th? Do I want to have 6 or 9 trades?
I'm hoping those 400 points. I'm hoping those 400 points can happen at the back end for us trade holders. 3 weeks running, because it shows what it can be done. But well done, mate. Obviously very aggressive there, and it's paid dividends.
Yeah.
Much like your namesake Des Hasler naming Keanu Kinney at fullback again this week, and AJ Brimson at 18th man. I said I doubt a lot of your decisions, but they pay off invariably every single time, mate. And 3 of the great trade-in options. So while you are light on trades big time, you're in the hunt, if nothing else. And if restings in the back end of the seasons, injuries, those sort of things can be kind to you, you do have a pretty deep squad. So dare to dream again.
Yeah. I think probably top 10, maybe just in reach. Probably not first. I think I'm closer to 5,000th place than I am first place in terms of actual points, which is crazy. Yeah, it just shows you how
there's not a big gap between about your area and 5K. It's really interesting this season.
It's great news for the Stallions.
Yeah, I know.
But like you said, it's all going to come down to injuries, restings. I'm just hoping that since the actual ladder is so close that maybe there's not as many restings this year as teams are still vying for the 8 right to the very end. For and against is going to matter. But yeah, it's a risk. It may not pay off. We'll see.
Yeah, we're going to be chat about trade tactics for the run home and how we're all approaching it from quite different scenarios later on. We'll talk about pods and how you're going to attack Dezzy, but we'll get to that shortly. But pardon me. Lastly, on today's show, a bloke who mid-bloke in a bar podcast yesterday, I get this little text. Supercoach had just unlocked, and I was waiting for something from Guru or something, being a smart ass, and it was Matty the Waterboy saying, mate, if you want me to anchor the podcast tomorrow, let me know. Matty?
Yes, I'll go a two-pronged approach at this. So I went really well this week. I got 1,100. And I said last week and the week before that I was trying really hard and I couldn't seem to figure out why I went so bad in both the first 2 bye weeks. I seriously couldn't figure it out. And it wasn't until I spoke with Guru that I realised, so this is so dumb.
I'm excited.
Yeah. So top 13 players, I was like, all right. But I didn't realise you had to actually click the reserves. So I had people who were in my reserves who I just assumed it would be the top 13 across your whole team.
Yeah.
And I had people on my bench who didn't count because, so I figured out that's what happened. And look, I didn't want to admit it, but then I realised there's probably not that many, but there's probably 1 or 2 people at least who
You wouldn't be alone.
Yeah, who have done that and probably haven't realised. So it's just a lesson for next year.
It actually adds to credibility a little bit for you, Matty, because it's just an admin error.
For sure.
It's got nothing to do with your coaching or managing ability. It's just an admin error. Front office
front
stuff
office.
that can be tidied up.
Yeah, I know. So all clubs need a good front office, and obviously mine's struggling at the moment.
Well, I feel like last year, Matty, was the real rookie year for you. This year is learning where to dot the I's and cross the T's. I think by next year, you're just going to be around it all and ready to launch.
Yeah, seriously, that's been my biggest downfall this year. The two admin errors. So yeah. It's all about progression, and we go on. But I had a good week last week, which was nice.
Yeah, I reckon the Stallions might have had the same admin errors looking at our score. No, but really, mate, round 19, we Green Arrows, 1,466 spots up for our weekly rank. Our overall rank, however, dropped 520 spots, 888 points, boys. The less said, the better. Again, not a bad week, just a meandering week around that exact same spot. I've been in this 10 to 12k wedge for about 6 weeks now, and don't look like getting out of it. So, as I said, thankfully we've got you two boys on here to lead the charge with a bit of credibility this week. Boys, on today's show, actually before we get to today's show, the SC Playbook Unlimited League. The Dead Hand Gang, Quinton still second overall, leading the charge there. We touched on it last week, but Tandy's late mail, coached by Reese, extended his lead into first overall. SC Playbook subscriber. Didn't want to crack at a $3,000 cash. He just brushed it. Not in our Unlimited League, but he's in our WhatsApp chat. An absolute weapon, as you said last week, Spy.
Gun.
But he's in beers and break-evens, but too good for SC Playbook League.
Maybe just wanted to focus on, 1 or 2 leagues, not overcomplicate things, and obviously it's working.
Maybe he knew he was a gun and just wanted to give other people a chance at some cash.
Bit of charity.
Yeah, but on fire, mate. So hopefully you do bring it home. One of you boys anyway. You got essentially the top 2 overall. Guys, today's show, Team List Tuesday analysis. Nathan Cleary returns. Do we go early on him or do we wait for a price drop? The topic for the show, we're going to look at trade strategy for the run home. As I mentioned, we're all in different spots with money in bank, trades for the run home, positioning on the ladder, quite different. So hopefully we can be similar to a lot of the listeners out there and at least give our approach to how we're going to utilise our final trades this season. Hot topics for the show, Lockie Galvin, time up, or do we hold on to him long term? We'll drop our round 20 trades and skippers into a few listener questions to wrap up the show. Boys, Team This Tuesday. Normally go through this chronologically through the week. Start first of the week to the end of it. This week, the top of it, Nathan Cleary returns. It's the big talking point. 805k. He's got a break even of 189. He's the second most traded in player. Dezzy, go this week or give it a week?
I can't do it. Not with 6 trades. I do want him in. He's obviously going to be one of those last 6 trades. If I had double figures left in trades like you boys, then sure. I have no qualms in trading in someone with a high break even. I did it with Turbo last week. 189 break even. It doesn't matter if Cleary loses money from here. He's going to probably be the top scoring halfback, you'd say, over the next 8 weeks by a significant margin. If he outscores, say, like Hughes and those guys 10, 15 a week, you're making up your points worth in the trade no matter what. Doesn't matter money-wise.
So if you had 10 trades,
10 trades,
you'd do it.
10 plus trades, double figures worth of trades, yep, I would do it. Even with the news that Dylan Edwards and Isaiah Yeo is out, I said Yeo is a bigger one than Edwards, in fact, because he plays that link role in the middle for Penrith. So I think he's a bigger loss than Edwards for Cleary, but Cleary's just he'll do his work. He'll score 60 to 80 points probably. very comfortably, I would say. Even if he's not running heaps on that hamstring, I'd say he's still going to be putting people into gaps, kind of like Turbo did last week. He didn't really stress the hamstring. It was just line break assists. And who do they have? The Dolphins.
In Penrith.
In Penrith. It could be points. There could be points.
Spy, you do have double-figure trades, mate. Could you be tempted into going early, or do you want to wait?
If you asked me 2 minutes ago, I would have said you're mad. 190-odd BE hamstring. It's not a shoulder injury. If that goes again and you lost 100K and he scored you 20 points, you would be filthy. On the flip side, I just looked at my side. I've got Sammy Walker, who I think I want to move on anyway. I think he's done a job for me. His break-even's 120. He's got Melbourne. And Penrith's match is Sunday, Arvo and the Sun. So all of a sudden, I go, do I do it now? Just have a little crack. Might come down to NRL Physio's comments on the old Patreon over there, because typically you don't want to jump into a hamstring, but he's had an extended layoff, boys. I'm pretty sure he was fit about a month ago.
Yeah,
so it's a different scenario, isn't it, to normal?
Who's your second halfback?
Hughesy. Jerome Hughes.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
I was
so...
gonna say, you'd been so content on selling Sammy Walker for a while. I'm like, that makes sense. You hold one of them, and I think I'm with you. I think Hughes... Well, the Storm don't have a buy either to come, I don't believe.
That's kind of the difference for me. With Hughesy firing, he's got nearly 4 tons in a row.
Yeah, no, I rate it.
So I do like Sammy, but I'm sort of waiting that low score. Of his, he throws in that odd 20 or 25. I'd hate it to be this week, and Cleary gets 120. So I might ponder it, but if I didn't own Sammy Walker with that high break, even in a tougher game, or potentially tougher game there, Storm can leak some points despite winning. I think it's really risky, because obviously you're weighing up the fact you can pick up Nathan next week or the week after, potentially for like 700K.
Yeah.
That extra money you save could be the difference between an upgrade elsewhere from a mid-ranger to a gun. So it's not as simple as just saying losing cash. I'm on the side of don't buy, but there is a scenario, mine in particular, where maybe I take the plunge, get on the attack.
There's no better upgrade elsewhere. Cleary's the best. Yeah. And you'd have to assume he's goal kicking as well.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd get him next week. If he plays his 80, drops 100K, but it might be worth just taking that look from a Hemi perspective. Sunday Arvo game, Dolphins, they're a little bit thin in the old defensive department at the moment, aren't they? So what do you reckon?
I don't like it, boys. And Spy, like you touched on most of it, and I'm a bloke like many of us who I've been scorned twice this season by him doing his hammy, twice already this year.
Yeah.
So I just feel like Penrith side, as you said, Dezzy, with Yo and Dylan Edwards both out already this weekend, I suspect there's every chance that the rest of the Penrith boys from Origin get a sit this week as well. So he's not going to have that dominant side around him. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him come out and maybe take a bit of a backseat in his running game and just
guide his way through.
And we were talking pre-show, Dezzy, but he can score well and he can turn up with his passing game, with his kicking game, getting people around the park and the team around the park. But as you said, Spy, like, firstly, if the hammy goes again, you've used trade to get him out or in, then get him out again, 2 trades, and then cost yourself 100K plus. But more importantly, it's just, said, even if he gets that 80 to 100 this week, he's still dropping, 70, 80K. It's a lot of cash when we get a free side at him. He's in a weakened team, 189 break even, as I said. So I'm going to get him next week. I think they face the Dragons, and you definitely want him for that game. But for 1 week of action, a bloke who's been out for a long time, it's a lot of cash. I'm happy to watch.
Only thing that scares me is if he has that had the extended month layoff where they've said, mate, honestly, you're good to go. We're going to give it 3 or 4 weeks. Get through to post-bye, round 19, get into round 20.
Come out all
he
guns
might
blazing.
just be chomping at the bit, ready to run and take him on.
Do you think that his hammy is more likely to go this week or than any other week? Because it seems like the hammy could go in any of the last 8 games
I
at
saw
any time.
Physio posted on Twitter this afternoon, I believe it was, that I believe it was a 10 to 12% extra chance of going, I think, first week back from a hammy layoff. I'll get the wording up later. But
first 2 weeks are the most dangerous, but then if it's reoccurring, you are still at some risk those preceding weeks.
Because the ones he did earlier in the season, he had already had a few games.
Second game back was the second one, so the first 2 weeks are the biggest risk.
Yeah, so look, I'm happy to hold off, to be honest. And look, he could, my season, he will come out and get 180 and everyone will captain him. But I'm happy to avoid for now. At the Canberra Raiders, Jamal Fogarty is back and Zach Hosking also. Not a lot of Supercoach relevance there, but one to note. At the Warriors, though, a little bit going on there with Charles Nicholl-Cookstad out with, I believe, a calf injury. Tane Tuapiki starts at fullback. But the one there, boys, Roger Tuivasa-Sheck moves to the left wing. 458k, 55-point average for the season at left centre. The dynamic has also changed a little bit because even when Sean Johnson out at the moment, but when Sean Johnson came back last time, Tamari Martin still played a big role on that left edge, and the left edge got some more quality ball than it did earlier in the season. So we'll go to you first, Spy, but RTS left wing, obviously he's just a big watch this week, but he could come out and have 25 runs a game.
Mate, it could be huge at that price. Could give you a good downgrade option. Someone like, look at my own side, Blaze Talangi I've got sitting there for para. I can make money by going to Roger. Love that. As you said, or might have alluded to, he may not hold that spot if they shake him back to the centres. But
Montoya to come back from a groin injury at some stage. Depends what happens there.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I've sort of said all year that they got to make some sort of move. And Roger on the wing just makes sense, doesn't it? Just that extra ball carrier, 25 runs a match. Not stuck in a corridor as such. I really like it.
Dezzy, you're a Roger fiend. You'd like it?
Yeah, I don't think I can do it, though, with 6 trades. I think, like I said, if you need double figures trades to pull off some of these. And
Those luxury ones.
A lot of people's centre wing is super stacked right now.
It's luxury.
It's like I've already got 6 or 7 guns in centre wing. I just can't see myself playing someone like RTS over, 4 or 5 of my centre wing at least. And he's looked really good, but he's not scoring those tons that you really need in centre wing.
At centre, he's not. On the wing, though, could they come?
Well, he played a few games on wing and nothing. He scored a try. Nothing. There was no huge scores from him all year. So
yeah.
And the Warriors just, I don't know. They're not looking fantastic to me.
Yeah. I wouldn't be buying this week, but big watch.
I bloody got blasted by Dezzy early in the season for not having RTS, so I brought him in and he got hurt. It's probably the only thing you've got wrong all year.
He did a job, though, early in the season.
He was okay.
He was scoring 60 every week, which is kind of what you need to build towards a final.
Not bad. Just quickly on Cleary as well, forgot to mention, but it's not like he's blown away the comp in his 5 games this year. It's not necessarily peak Cleary yet. So
he's averaging 60, isn't he?
Yeah. He was basically 70 leading into that last Hemi.
You would have said the same about Turbo last week, though, on the podcast when I wasn't here. I didn't watch it, but I know that you would have said something like that.
Turbo played last week against a Knights side with Dylan Lucas and Thomas Cant. Back rowers playing centre.
If Clearer's playing the Knights Reggie side or Jersey Flag team, I'd get him.
They don't need to be 100%. They just need to put people through gaps.
Yeah, I'm not saying he can't do a job. I'm just saying this year he hasn't blown sides away like he has in the past. So is he gonna do it? Is it coming in a month? I don't know.
Use 2 trades and get him in, then you cut.
Maybe. I'm seriously considering it with 6 trades just to show you my mentality.
Don't get me wrong, I'm keen. I'm just saying.
Next week, I'm happy to wait a week. Boys, also at the Warriors, though, this one more relevant. We're at that stage of the season where some people are looking at getting nuffs in, some people look to get cheapies, everyone does it differently. I'm firmly in the camp of free up cash with active players, fresh bodies, warm bodies. Ali Leotau, 238k, has been named at centre for the Warriors. He's had 1 game this season for 65 points against the Penrith Panthers. That was at Magic Round. His dual CT dub fullback. Spy, job security obviously poor, but this kid can play footy. I'm interested.
Big raps on him, that's for sure. Beat Penrith Magic Round, as you said, which is a huge win.
Annihilated the preseason.
And some of us, probably just me and the whole of Australia, have Drury Hutchison to downgrade. So I need someone to go to.
If I hear that name one more time on this podcast.
Every time I go to...
still have him?
So every week I go to sell him, someone gets hurt long term. I'm like, well, got to sell them first.
Oh.
So I've been waiting for this moment to downgrade him. He's right in the mix. But then does he play next week? We've got others like we've spoken about, Jesse Arthurs and a few others floating around there. So he's exciting though. I wouldn't mind sort of taking the punt. And you know what? If he ends up getting dropped, I've got a fair bit of depth. I might cop it anyway.
Well, that's it. Especially if you're a side like ours, very few nuffs in it. Although Puaso Farmer's silly, no longer enough. He's on the bench for the Dogs.
I might be nuffless.
It's coming, and that's what I mean. So if you do pick him up and then he does drop out, well, it's like
It's not a disaster, but I'm half keen to get him.
Yeah, same. Boys, Appy Coruscant named on the extended bench for the Tigers. A surprise one. I think it was the Telegraph in an article today saying that he wasn't going to play. Look, I do expect him to be out this week. I do, especially with the naming on the bench this week, to be back probably next week. Spy, you're not no.
Totally missed it because I was looking up Leotau stats. Which guy?
Appy Coruscant.
Appy. Thankfully not. I couldn't have tried to get him in more often and somehow didn't. He either hurts me or helps me each week, but frustrating one. The word is pretty minor though, so
You got to hold, don't you?
1 or 2 games. Who's your backup hooker? Is the
Dezzy,
problem.
you're an Appy?
I've got Appy and Hans who's on the bye this week, so I'm
So
taking
there's a lot of
the
issues.
AE at hooker this week. It's not worth trading. I think he'll be back next week, and I think
And you could reassess next week if he's not.
Yeah, and I think my reserves are good enough. I think I've got Sam Hughes starting now, and Bronson Jerry as my auto emergency. So it should be 40 at least from
Suits
AE.
you beautifully.
Yeah, and a nice
but there's
PC
going to be
league.
others who, might have Pawasa on the bench and they're relying on him as an AE. Appy not necessarily back next week. Tigers down the bottom.
tricky.
I do, in terms of shutting Appy down for the year, I think Tigers just need wins too badly. If he's healthy, he has to play, at least for now.
I think I'd hold it. If I was in that situation without a hooker this week, I'd nearly, unless you could go, Bloke will get to a bit later, I'm sure, but unless you could go your second hooker to Connor Watson.
He's the only player.
He's the only person that I'd potentially move, even potentially Appy onto, but otherwise, I'd just grit my teeth if you're an Appy owner and you're in that situation where you didn't have a hooker this week, because even if he's out next week, you should have, whether it's a Brendan Hands or whoever it might be, there to cover it. So I think he's a reluctant hold, but yeah, certainly a pain. Tyson Gamble, 18th man for the Newcastle Knights. Oop, Dezzy's dropped his beer. Good form, mate. Spillage. Hoover it, mate. Get down. Tyson Gamble, 18th man for the Knights, bidding to return from injury. Will Price, still named at 5'8". Big watch there for owners of Will Price, though, because he's only had one price rise, earned about 50k. If Gamble comes in for him, I think he's going to be a sell for a 50k profit, which is a bit of a dagger.
I would not be banking on Price this week.
Nah.
Gamble's got to come in, solidify that edge defensively especially. I'm not saying Price has been bad or anything. I didn't necessarily see the game on the weekend, but Gamble he's pretty rock solid in that lineup.
Dylan Lucas on the bench for the Knights. Good news for Kai Pearce-Paul owners. Whether or not that stays the same, I'm not sure. I mean, I'd certainly be having Dylan Lucas starting over Kai Pearce-Paul at the moment.
I don't believe that as a Kai Pearce-Paul owner.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that one. The Broncos have named all their Origin players on the extended bench. Keep an eye on that. However, I very much expect the Broncos quartet of Origin players to back up because they have to. They have to win games, provided they get through Origin unscathed. Nick Meaney back for the Storm. Harry Grant has been named. Jared Hargreaves has been given a 4-game suspension, what feels like a while ago now because they're on the bye. But, boys, great news for Terrell May, who I was pondering the idea of maybe post-Origin flipping him to Payne Haas. I still don't hate it, but now that he's starting and JWH out longer term, Dezzy, I think he's got to hold.
Yeah, you've got to hold him. He's scoring tries. He's
Setting him up.
he's running across the field, which is not necessarily what you want from a coach, from your front rower, but he's busting tackles, he's offloading. He can jag attacking stats every couple of games. So
The Andrew Fafita effect.
that's it. Yeah, the Fifi effect.
Can you just edit in whatever comment I said last time you raised him, please?
Yeah. Yeah, you don't have him. Boys, we've sort of spoken about the Penrith Panthers contingent actually already. Ewan Aitken out longer term for the Dolphins with a relatively serious injury, unfortunately, for Aitken. Felice Kafusi named on the edge to replace him. Ruben Garrick named, pulled about 15 minutes from time last week. For the record, the captaincy curse. Granted, I had 2 cracks at it last week. Back on track. A ton to Ruben Garrick, but even then, when he was on track to go even bigger and then he came off with 15 to go, I'm like, what's doing? I was scared that there might have been an injury. He'd been crook all week, so hence why he came off.
Do you want to have a quick laugh about Terrell May?
Absolutely. Hit us.
This is when I sold him, so if you didn't listen earlier in the year, I spruiked Terrell May, started with him against the grain, killing it, going well. So up into round 6, he averaged me 60, made me 110k or something. You beauty, happy days. He then played 20 minutes, 50 minutes, 30 minutes, 27 minutes. Huge break even. I wasn't necessarily playing him, but I was like, Geez, I better cash him in, hey. Like, he's done his job. The week I sold him, he played 50 minutes. That's when he scored 80 or 90 in the last 10 minutes against Brisbane. Scored 120, then 60, then 50, then 40. I'm like, I can cop that. The 120 hurt. First buy, 116. The week no one played him, 27 minutes for 27 points. Second buy, 110. Then 75, 73. He's up to 700K, and now JWH out for 4 weeks. I can't believe it.
That has burned, especially as I said, when you had that faith in him earlier on. That 90-odd points in 10 minutes, whatever the hell it was. 3
out of 4 weeks under 29 minutes. I'm like, it's time to go, mate.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Oh, that hurts, Spy. Anyway, moving on. Ben Trebojevic benched for Manly on return from a concussion. Carl Lawton starts on the edge, so... I mean, Benny Trebojevic probably a sell anyway, but that probably puts a line through him, provided that stays that way. I don't hate him as a hold with the dual positioning if you need to, if he does start, though. At the Titans, boys, Dezzy Hasler, genuine shithousery, playing silly buggers, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Keanu Kinney named at fullback, AJ Brimson 18th man.
Dropped, AJ. Axed.
I don't get it. Like, we were speaking pre-show, Dezzy, and you mentioned maybe some injury niggle to Brimson, but... If there's an injury niggle, surely he's just not playing. What do you make of this?
Yeah.
Do you still have Kinney?
No, I sold him to Turbo last week as soon as I saw him on the bench. Brimson didn't look that good, honestly. He kind of let the Parramatta get back in that game when he offloaded on his own 10-metre line straight to an Eels player, and they went on to score and came back into the game. And he played, 55 minutes? Kinney played the last 25. Kinney he looks better. He looks a better fullback. He looks to be in better form at least.
Just in current, how their styles currently suit their side, Kinney is exactly what the Gold Coast need, in my opinion. That's no knock on Brimson at all. That's purely about how good I think Kinney is.
Boys, it's so difficult because anyone that still does own him out there, they play Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock, so you're not going to know. So you've nearly just got to cut ties.
It's 50-50.
Unless we get word that he's staying there, you've just got to sell.
You'd have to plan to sell unless there's some way you can hold on till Sunday Arvo.
Well, I guess Sunday Arvo, to be fair, if you've got him, you can move him to Turbo still.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, so that works out all right.
Let's do that, yeah.
And if he does start at fullback, do you hold?
Yeah. Especially for this matchup. Titans traditionally do very well against Manly at Brookvale. I think they have one of the highest winning percentages, so it's a stark contrast this week as opposed to last week where we played Newcastle, have a 16% winning percentage at Brookvale. I think the Titans, they'll cause some trouble, especially with the form they're in.
Yeah. Only issue is break even's now 170 because of the benching.
God.
So if he starts this week, then he gets you your 90, then he's bench again.
Yeah.
So a lot of headaches I probably wouldn't want to deal with, to be honest.
Done a bit of homework coming into this one, Dezzy. Rattling on some big numbers.
Unlike me,
I know.
I'm getting all these stats from the Playbook WhatsApp.
Yeah,
I'm stealing
good
them all.
stuff. Nice stuff. Good plug. Cowboys Origin players named on the extended bench. Watch that space. But last game of the round, you'd think that'd be a big chance to back up. Saying that, I bloody hope Reece Robson backs up because I've got Brayley as my backup at the moment. That's a bit of a dagger, but hopefully won't be an issue. The Doggies, Maxi King out for 6 weeks. Sam Hughes, does he become a viable third front row forward option? Provided you've got 2 decent ones out there, which everyone does. Des, you're in this situation. Like, you don't have to retire. You don't want to have to rely on playing him regularly, but if he plugs a hole when, say, Terrell May's out or someone else out and you play him 2 or 3 weeks, again, we'll see his minutes this week, and Josh Curran starts, he'll get 2 big minutes, but he might be a viable third front rower.
Yeah, I would say so. As long as he's getting 40, 45 minutes, which he should, starting front rowers get about that, so, yeah.
I'm sceptical as an owner, but gee, if you could punch out even 40-odd minutes just as a backup option would be
Doesn't need to do
it'd be
much.
nice,
He's
wouldn't
got try scoring potential in him. He's gone over
Definitely
for a
got
few.
potential. Just a bigger body, so I don't know how many minutes they want to play him with the way the Doggies attack is sort of running defensively, but yeah, we'll see.
Boys, trade strategy for the run home. 8 weeks left to play. We want to have a chat about, for people sitting there, there's lots of questions in. I have X amount left. Do I use them all and set my team up, or do I save trades for the back end, for the restings and when the carnage comes in, or not sure. And it was good that us three were on because I'm sitting with 13 trades. Spy, you're 11. Dezzy, you're 6. Dezzy, you're flying high. I've got a lot of ground to make up. Spy, you're thereabouts. We're all in very different positions as it stands. So let's start with you, Dezzy. 6 trades. Bit of cash in bank?
130K.
130K cash in bank. No boosts?
No
Not
boost.
gonna matter.
No.
What are you thinking? Are you going to go hard? Are you going to store a few up?
No, it's got to be no trades for almost the next 2 or 3 weeks at least. If not, if I can go a month without trading.
Cleary.
I mean, yeah, Cleary's one of the last 6, that's for sure. Probably Payne Haas. I'm even looking at Fanua Blake at 600K. He's not going to get much cheaper. You want to run that Haas Fanua Blake combo if you can for the run home. They're going to be the top scoring. I've got Terrell May and Samuel Afainu. They're both scoring okay, 60 and 50 average. If you have Fanua Blake and Haas there, you're getting probably 30 to 40 extra points per week in front row, which is a lot. That makes up 320 odd points for the run home. So if you can do that, you do it, I say. Whether I can get them, I just don't think I can get them right now. Like we said, there's going to be injuries. There's probably going to be restings. So I'm probably trying to save four trades at least for restings and injuries over the last 3 or 4 rounds. You want to use probably one per round over the final 4 weeks. So, yeah, I'm just going to have to wait for Cleary to drop in price, unfortunately, and try and get him in one trade because I just can't get him in one trade right now unless I sell Jaden Campbell, which I'm just not prepared to do. He's just looking way too good.
What about Dezzy? You're in a very intriguing spot in 190th because, especially because you are in the content space, your rank's out there, you want to be doing well sort of thing and having a good finish at the end of the year. Do you go hell for leather and do you look to anti-pod players? Do you look to find pods for the run home and just go all in for that top spot? Or are you really you're just picking the best players that you think have the best scoring potential and you try and, aim for that top 100 spot? How do you feel you're going to do it? Because there's 2 vastly different approaches you can run with.
There is, yeah. If I wasn't in a couple of cash comps, then I would probably be throwing a lot more caution to the wind and trying to maybe come top 10, get that nice tracksuit. So, yeah, I think with a few cash comps, I'm not in any head-to-head comps, so I know a lot of people will be saving their trades for head-to-head finals and stuff like that. I don't have to do that, so, yeah, I'm probably just going to take the approach that will try and net me the highest overall rank possible without taking too much antipods. I could go without Cleary it seems so insane to say that. I just can't do it.
Who's your halves again?
I've got Dylan Brown and Sam Walker and Galvin and Jaden Campbell at 5'8".
Woo, so rogue, but good.
Before you get into your Spy, for the head-to-head players out there, again, it'll be circumstantial, but can you just touch on how they, and I've put you on the spot here, but how they should be preparing leading into head finals with their trade strategy at this point of the season? Spy.
Sorry. You said before you go ahead, thought you were talking to Dezzy.
Oh my goodness. You heard anything I've said
I'm not
today?
the resident head-to-head expert here.
I put up with Guru two times a week not listening to me.
It's had a panic. I can tell you what happened. When he said cash league, I just remembered I was in one. I'm sitting 9th in one of them. There's only 3 rounds left.
Is that me? Is that the one I'm in?
I don't know. But anyway.
The Wilson one.
You cut me off when I was talking, so I went back to my business.
You back with the Spy?
Spy mustn't have Oztag tonight. There's no time limit. I just want to sit up at that desk for the next 2 hours.
We got a late game.
Okay, makes sense.
Oh, God.
Head-to-head advice. What do you got?
For those Spy, head-to-head focused.
Yeah.
And I said before I put you on the spot, well, I've now told you twice. I haven't put you on the spot as much.
You haven't, because I didn't hear you.
For those head-to-head focused, how should they be looking to utilise their trades leading into finals at this stage?
Well, based on this, we've got 3 rounds left, guys. If you need to make the 8, get into it. Or depends on position. There might be a second chance for those who finish top 4, however your league's set up. I think you want to first decide where you want to finish. Are you just going to settle in that top 4 position. Are you sitting 6 and you want to get a second chance, then make some moves. But ideally, if you're comfortable and you're going to make finals, then I want to keep trades up my sleeve for that run home for the last month. That's priority, probably even higher than trying to get from 5th to 4th in a second chance. I'd rather just have my trades and back myself to beat 8th with those trades. But as always, if you're sitting 12th or something, then you got to use all your trades because you need to make finals.
Yep.
It's irrelevant if you don't make it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Spy, your trade scenario, though. You've got 11 left. You've got how much money in the bank?
130K sitting there, 11 trades. I've basically broken it down like this, boys. I really want to get Angus Crichton back. He's just a monster this year. Really, really want him, and I can go straight from Kai Pearce-Paul to him by downgrading Drewy Hutchinson. So that gives me 9 trades. I want Nathan Cleary, so that'll be basically straight across from Sammy Walker or Jerome Hughes if, say, Munster returns next week and takes some balls. So that's half the reason I wouldn't mind also potentially holding Sammy Walker just to see how he does. Maybe he's ready to explode again. That gives me 8 trades left, about 6 weeks to play, which I think feels is pretty good. Because there's no other areas of really concern as such. I will get to some somewhat trouble areas, but stuff like front row upgrade, maybe a centre flip or a fullback roulette against weaker sides. Wouldn't mind just keeping those sort of things up the sleeve as it happens week to week. Problem areas.
Roulette.
Back end of the year is when you do it.
I haven't heard you say fullback roulette since the very start of the season, where I told you it was a bad idea.
It's working all right for
Now's
me.
the time.
I've just gone Latrell into Jaden Campbell. It's working beautifully. But
You got Jaden a fullback.
yeah. Part of the roulette, mate. But I agree, early in the season, I'm going to do the exact same thing next year, but delay the tactic. That's my learnings from 2024.
The next 6 to 8 weeks left, fullback roulette's on. Like,
Yep.
if you've got trades up the sleeve,
It's on.
because they're very different runs that some of the big dogs have coming up, and buys as well. For myself, 13 trades. Obviously positioned well now to get on the horse and make some moves. I said from day dot that I wanted to save a boost for round 20. We've arrived at it. I'll be boosting this week. We'll get to my trades shortly. I'll probably use 2 trades next week as well, I'd imagine, and probably 2 the week after, and just really set my team up. Depth is there as well, so it'll be good to go and very well covered with trades and all that for the run home. What that does to my rank, time will tell. And I sit there like always, and I'm banking on and hoping for carnage and restings and injuries and all these sorts of things. But, yeah, look, if you're sitting there like myself and you've got 12, 13 trades, go hard on them. I think it's a great week to boost. My plan with this boost is to get my team to where I want it to be with all the key origin players and people come back from injury quicker than anyone else can. And with, certainly 5 trades in the next 2 weeks, probably 7 in the next 3, I can afford to do that, which leaves me, 6 trades for the last 5 rounds or something. So, yeah. Going hard or going home.
A couple of trouble areas. Would you like to troubleshoot with me? Are we going to do that in a bit? Or
yeah, what do you got, mate? What's an issue?
Damien Cook. Obviously, I foresaw this. I wanted to have a crack at the buys, and he's ended up getting about 120 in 2 weeks for me, which is okay. But
Warned you, mate.
now the decision comes. I was hoping your bunnies, Matty, might have won last week, which means he'd stay in that 80-minute role.
Yeah, so did I.
Didn't. Yeah, did you?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, wasn't to be. My question for you is, mate, what stage of the season are you predicting minutes to come away from Cookie in prep for next year?
If Jai Arrow wasn't going for season-ending surgery this week, I'd probably be like, South have a chance to make. South are mathematically possible to make the finals.
Is there
so
a sniff? Yes.
But because they've done that, it just makes you think, well, they've not given up, but if there were any real chance of making the finals, you'd think he wouldn't go for season-ending surgery. So that would tell me that it could be this week. It could be this week.
That's why it's that's why it's the top of my troubleshoot list.
South are playing the Tigers, right? Like, I don't know how the result's going to go, but South could be pumping them. Like, it could be this week. I'm not saying that with any. This is just my vibe. Like, I think it lines up perfectly with Jai Arrow.
And they're also one loss away from entirely being done, and then you almost starting Mamazelos.
And that's why. It's nothing to do with Cook. It's not nothing to do with Cook going. I mean, why wouldn't you give Mamazelos
They need
a
minutes
crack?
in him.
Exactly.
Sense, yeah, which is why I was really hoping the win last week would keep him on board for another 3
That's
or 4
what
weeks.
I thought as well. I think if South won last week, I know he's booked in for surgery.
Scrap it.
Maybe I thought they might have scrapped it, but
Yeah.
especially with Trell being out as well. Yeah, I think it could be this week.
So the interesting one is, boys, not that it's so much a problem area because when I bought him, he had a low break even. I knew I could cash him in for profit. He's worth 720k, but his break even's now 126. I might need to do it now because I don't want him to lose 100k and then go, oh, I could have sold him 2 weeks ago at 720. What I hoped was going to happen was get him through to round 23, play him, and then flip him for Connor Watson. That was the ideal scenario. I wasn't confident it was going to happen, but I took a bit of a punt. I think, Cookie, the question probably for you boys is, do I sell now or do I ride a couple more weeks, lose 70 or 80k, hopefully scores well in a couple of reasonable matchups?
Because you got Brayley as your second.
Yeah, Brayley.
Yeah.
Not ideal at all. What do you reckon?
You would go to Connor Watson if you sold him?
Well, I've got to have a look, but I do like Connor a lot. Yeah. What I would then do during the Roosters buy is probably flip one of my back rowers into hooker and flip Connor back up to the back row.
Well,
but I love Connor.
I think I've had a bit of a look through the hookers, and it was like, I'm not an Appy owner. I've got Robson, who I'm hoping can just play every game and 80 minutes for the run home, and we're good. But I think Connor's the man. Like, I had eyes on Harry Grant for the run home, but he's carrying a sternum injury that doesn't sound great. So I'm a bit reluctant to invest in him. Oh my goodness, I went through the numbers of Connor Watson.
Beast.
They're unbelievable. I think he's at a reasonable price as well. Yeah, I'd be tempted to pull the trigger, Spy.
Yeah, get onto it right now. Could well be on, boys.
Watson, yeah, he just looks like he's bordering on must-have to me.
Fun to own.
He's taking he's taking double figures runs per game.
And he does still have
And
one,
he's quick.
two.
He's very quick through the rock. There's going to be tries and try-assists coming.
Yeah.
You know it.
It's still 4 weeks till his buy as well, so I'll be able to deal with that with those trades I've saved at that point in time. And maybe I do get a healthy Harry back then and flip Connor to the back row. The only other problem area I have, it's looking all right, boys, is...
Just before that.
Yep.
Get a load of this, Connor Watson. I was going to save it for beers and break evens tomorrow, but I normally save a few little stats for it just to get people listening to both. Even if it does mean putting up with Guru, there's some good stuff in it. So he's 77k with a break even of 63, averaging 66 for the season as an 80-minute player since round 6. In his last 7 games, he's averaged 82.57 with 62.57 in base. In that period, 1 try, 2 try assists. They are huge
Capable for
numbers.
more.
In a gun team playing big minutes, there's more to come, I think.
I just
numbers.
realised I can make 50k by doing it.
Yeah.
I've already done it just then.
Yeah.
Just made the trade. So Connor in, very exciting. I was obviously a bit wary of Origin. Maybe Connor plays less minutes this week, but he's not playing a huge role for the Blues. But there is that factor. Yeah, it's
There's
exciting.
no injuries in Origin. He's probably not playing more than 25
I'm
minutes.
excited to own Connor. It's been in the works. The only other one, boys, I'll troubleshoot with you is Lockie Galvin. Not so much that I question Galvin at all. It's obviously the side he's in starting to struggle a little bit, which sees less ball. His break-even's out to 100, and whilst it's not all about cash, it just means if it's something I expect to do, I'd rather do it now rather than later, maximise that profit. And we're chatting on the car trip back, actually, Timo. Lockie Galvin, he's 18, he's tiny, he's had an unbelievable season. Surely to goodness, he's not playing the last 5-6 weeks of this season with Latu Fanu back as well, who they want to get K's into and see how he goes. Not that I have to make a move this week, but again, if I want to sort of maximise profit, I can flip Galvin to Burton right now for a 40k profit and just boost those funds for the run home with Birdo, who I'm very excited to own. Sort of makes sense, but it is a trade, is it too sideways?
I can't sell Galvinator.
He's good, eh? He's
when
good.
I saw that sign at Leichhardt, I saw the Galvinator. Some old mate was holding up the Galvinator sign. I was like, he's made it.
They had copyright D Creek in the bottom right
corner.
corner.
I do like his matchup this week versus South a lot.
I thought he was
Should be open.
I thought he could have scored a fair bit more last week. Even
He was unlucky.
yeah, a few like dropouts and stuff like that just kind of didn't roll his way. Not to say he hasn't had, those go his way most of the season. He has. He still looks okay to me. I'm happy to play him in my 17 this week. Quite happy.
I think he's a sell, boys. By no means an urgent sell, but I don't think Spy that they will. They could sit him out for games later on in the season. I don't think it'd be a stretch. I think it might be a game here or a game there. But as long as he's fit and ready to go, I think they'll just view it as invaluable experience for him moving into next year. I'm looking at upside at this time of year, and this time of year we see teams like the Tigers check out. We saw it on the weekend.
Yep.
There's going to be some big scorelines put on. Someone like Burton in the doggy side playing for a top 4 spot at the moment, just a way higher ceiling.
Team intensity's up. Like they're there.
Yeah, games where the Tigers
Goal
check
kicking,
out. Galvin could have some 20s and 30s in him. I know his base is great for a 5'8", but I just think around that 50-odd% ownership amongst top-ranked teams, I think it's a great anti-pot opportunity and to get someone with a bigger ceiling.
Yeah, I like it. Just pulled the trigger to see how it looks, and it does look pretty sexy.
So, Birdo.
I do like it. It's just a question of whether I do it now or soon enough.
Yeah. Boys, it is that time of year again in the footy world, state of origin in full swing. Less importantly, or more importantly to the very odd few, the time of year means the end of the financial year. The end of financial year sales are upon us. Are they still upon us? How long do the end of financial year sales go for? Do they go to mid-July?
I'm still waiting on a paycheck. I don't know. Nah, joking. I've got absolutely no idea.
I reckon they're still upon us.
Yep.
Anyway, they're going to have to be. If you've seen some cheap deals on a holiday or any new toys you're looking at grabbing but you don't quite have the cash to do it, Paddy and the team at Mortgage Choice SCW can help you out with some finance options and personal loans to make sure you have the cheapest rate possible to pay it back in your own time. You might be eyeing a little Japanese ski trip at the end of the year, but need some cash to do it. So Paddy and the team, they'll get done for you. Alternatively, guys, if you find yourself taking full advantage of the end-of-year sales, you might have gone way too hard on them. Your credit card bills are maxed out. They're out of control. Reach out to Paddy and the team to discuss a plan to look at some debt consolidation options. Whatever the end of financial year means to you, the team at Mortgage Choice SCW are here to help. Usually, this would cost you $129, but if you mention SC Playbook sent you, it's completely free of charge. Flick them a message on Instagram at mortgagechoice_SCW or give them a buzz on 02 9521 1611. Doesn't matter where you are in Australia. Boys, hot topics for the show. We've actually touched on a few of these blokes, but we have a few others to get through. Number one, Tom Trbojevic, 730k, 119 points in his return to fullback against the Knights, 82 break-even. Dezzy, you brought him in last week, obviously high on him. Spy, we'll get your thoughts. Buy, avoid.
Thomas, I'm leaning more avoid. Yeah, not because I don't rate him, right? I just think fullback is going to be hot property, and he's not going to get the Knights jersey flag side again in the outside back. So, yeah, I don't hate the buy, but I think people are just jumping at last week's score. Dezzy got it, which is perfect. He can hold happily. I just don't know if I'll be chasing it.
I agree, somewhat. If I had the trades left, I would trade him. I would almost trade him straight back out to, play fullback roulette. I think this is the time of year to do it. I think Ponga he looked much sharper on return. Pappenhausen's looking good. Dylan Edwards has an incredibly good draw. Obviously not playing this week, but
big eye on him.
He's the guy to pair with Teddy probably. I mean, you can never say for certain, but probably him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not that convinced either, boys. But I'm very similar, echoing you, Spy, that I think he's a fine buy. And we know he can go big on the run home. I just, like 45 on return at centre, where he didn't really do much at all against the Cowboys, which is fine and very different at fullback to centre. But I just don't know if it's how much we can take out of that Knights game. Like, I think he had 4 line break assists or something, a few try assists, all off just passes because they were shot on the edges. Titans this week, it's another good matchup, albeit the Titans have improved of late, into the Roosters, into a bye. I don't know, I think I'm happy enough to pick him up round 23 after the bye if he's indeed firing. But, yeah, there's so many good options available.
Round 23 does look pretty good for him if you know he's back to his best.
Oh, if he looks good in that period, for sure. But
for a little look.
They have a lot to play for, Manly.
Absolutely.
They can still make top 4.
Yeah.
There's a couple of games that last month where he could be real nice to own.
Yeah.
Boys, number 3, Jaden Campbell, 743k, 111 against the Eels, negative 30 break even. I suppose the question is, you both own. Has the ship sailed, Des?
No, I actually think he is the best 5'8" to run home with. He the Titans, you know, they could still make the 8 if they win every game, basically. Des has them firing. It's that simple. He's throwing that cutout pass to
that shape was nice for him. That sweeping
AKP,
shape, wasn't it?
And then he's got David Fafita running outside him. He's going to get try assists, free ones. He can bust tackles. He's got the whole arsenal. -30 break even. I don't see him going much lower than 700K for the rest of the year. He's going to go above 800K this week probably. But yeah, I think there's not many other 5'8s who are outscoring him. Well, he is the top averaging 5'8 by a country mile.
He had that playing like a 5'8, playing as a 5'8, especially getting all the defensive stats as well because they send a lot of traffic at him. But he ran that sweeping play for 2 tries on the weekend early on in the first about 10 minutes. So I don't even want to ask you. You didn't shut up about him all weekend, mate, so I'm sure you're still keen.
In fairness, I'm actually not that keen now. Again, a bit like Tommy, I think he's done his damage the last couple of weeks. I do think he'll be really good, but have a look at his draw. He's in the last 5 weeks, he has Sharks, Roosters, Penrith, Knights at home, who could be playing for a lot. We know Knights can defend when they've got a full squad. Not a huge fan of that. Brisbane, Dolphins, Manly next couple of weeks, I don't mind at all. As an owner, really happy to ride this wave, but he could easily be a trade out sort of.
Really? You would trade him out?
In maybe the final
Wouldn't
sort
shock
of
me at all.
4 or 5 weeks.
I think he's got some low ones in him.
I might try to move him on.
Which 5'8s would you move him to though?
I got him at fullback, but I know it's a you problem.
Very different at fullback to 5'8.
Yeah.
I don't think he's a keeper at fullback. At,
No chance.
At 5'8 though,
At 5'8", he can sit there happily.
Yeah, I think he's probably a hold at 5'8". Yeah, look, I don't own him. I'm not going to jump to him. The ownership will drive up. I'm thinking there will be some lower scores in him. The Titans have been better, but geez, they can be week to week that side, so we'll see.
I'll give him something though. He's a massive accumulator.
He's a gun.
He does every stat category, which just means he just adds up to a
I had
score
him in my
most
team
weeks.
round 1 this year until he did his hammy or something and missed the start of the season. But anyway.
So did I.
Yeah, anywho. Boys, we've spoken about Matty Burton at number 6, 539K, 72 point per game average, 48 break even. I agree, Spy. I think he's a great little play moving forward. We've spoken about Connor Watts at number 10. Number 11, Isaac Tungo at 398K. He's got a 53 point per game average, a 5-round average of 38 points per game, a break even of 63. Now, the stats here are regurgitated from my article a couple of weeks ago, but the factor is Nathan Cleary back on deck. So in 4 games with Nathan Cleary as his halfback inside him this season, he has scores of 46, 145, 100 and 34. In 7 games to begin 2023, with Cleary, he averaged 85.43 points per game, including highs of 158 and 124 and 1 score below 53. Boys, at 398K, I think Isaac Tungo is a great, I'm going to say 6 CT dub option. I think your 7th CT dub is either your Nuff or it's a Jesse Arthurs or a Ali Leotow, whoever it might be. Your 5th CT dub option is probably going to be a gun this time of year. I think in that 6th little slot where you can play him on a few nice matchups, he'll free up cash. I like the buy, Des.
Yeah. Well, considering I think he was over 800K earlier in the season. 398K is just an absolute steal for him. Those stats are pretty damning that you read out. So, yeah, I can't knock the buy.
I'm not mad keen. Good base. He always does the job in terms of he makes his tackles, has his runs. Cleary back, clearly a massive factor. We've spoken about it before, but against those back rowers he ran into earlier in the season with some, I can't remember if it was sin binnings or what happened, injuries, but he went mad. He just hasn't looked likely. I don't think I'd ever be overly keen to play him. So I think as my 6th centre, 6 is the interesting spot, isn't it? Yeah. It's the one where you go, I don't really need to play him, but he's there if I want to take a punt.
But you know you will at some stage.
You probably might need to. Look, I'm not saying I hate it, but he doesn't fill me with a whole lot of confidence just at this moment.
Yeah, with that break even this week of 63, I'm going to have a good look at him, and if he looks good with Nathan Cleary back in his inside, I'm very tempted next week. Number 12, Spy, Tavita Pangai Jr. Thought he might be a little bit higher up this list, and he might jump later in the week, but dual front row 2RF, 379K, 52-point average in his 3 games back in the NRL, 90 against the Bunnies on the weekend in 51 minutes. What do you say? It's just like, he could be the top scorer in front row on the run home, or he could average 40. I don't know.
He had a binder, didn't he? I mean, he scored his trial, which was probably worth, with tackle bust, 35 points. Lots of runs last week. He got 29 in runs. So, look, if he's running hard and offloading. Yeah,
And
he
all
looks
bar
alright.
one run was over 8 metres for 2 points.
Yeah, so he's obviously showing a bit of something. Classic old man Wayne Bennett just getting the best out of him.
Gee, there's upside.
I knocked him last week, and I won't hide from it. I just said I'm not keen on the bloke because I don't trust him. Like, he's not the kind of bloke I want to trust on the run home. But again, he's 380k. You're not paying 580 for him. Yeah, don't hate him.
Dezzy?
He showed me a bit.
Yeah, no, you can't trust him. You wouldn't let him babysit your kids.
Oh,
put it
shit,
that way. You want to see maybe a few more offloads out of him.
The offloads, he had 3 on the weekend.
Yeah, but when he was at his peak, I don't know, when I had him in 2019, he was throwing like 5 or 6 a game. You kind of want it doubled. You want him 80 minutes on an edge. If you have the trades left, sure, 379k, he's pretty well priced.
I get it. I'm
If
not
he
going
was
to
playing
do it,
51 minutes again, you're laughing.
You'd 100% do it.
But I mean, there's every chance he reverts back to mid-30s and you go, he's just popping.
Yeah, I think
for
that
me.
might not help is Felice Kafusi on the edge with you and Aitken out. Sorry, that will help him because Kafusi doesn't come back into that middle rotation. So that's beneficial. So we'll...
Trending up a little bit.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. We've spoken about Payne Haas. I think he's going to go on a tear on the run home at 701k, 72 point per game average. Honestly, I kind of want... I've got Curran, Fainu and Terrell May there. It's a bit of an upgrade from 2 of them and I want to hold Terrell May, but I'm like... I really want to get Payne Haas in. I'm getting a gun fullback this week. We'll talk about that soon. I'm getting Nathan Cleary next week. There's a lot of money being thrown out, but I think he goes ham. Boys, most sold players. Fletcher Sharp, gone. He's out of the 17. Number 3, Blaze Talangi at 580k. He's earned 375k from his starting price earlier in the year. 71 break even. You both own or just you Spy?
I own you, Dezzy.
don't know.
Yeah, I own him. He's so good, but I don't love him at centres.
Yeah.
The thing is, right, Para's equal last. Gutho's a shutdown risk. If he shuts down and Blaze goes to fullback for the last month, he basically averaged 90 there. Very tempted just to hold on and to see what happens over the coming few weeks.
You could nearly buy him back by that point.
You
if
could.
He got to fullback.
You could. If you obviously not playing this week, if he's on the right wing outside Mitch, I'm happy to hold as well. But he played left centre last week. He's a real. I'm just starting to get Terrell Made again and sell early because he could go off. Not going to sell him this week. Put it like that. I just want to wait and see what the team lists are next week. I'm also conscious that Para won't want the spoon, so they're going to be trying to win games. If they've won a couple in a row and the Tigers don't, last 3 weeks, it could be the best.
That's a long time away,
ever.
though. Like I said, you've got 11 trades, so
Yeah, they can run out pretty quick though with all these guys we want. So yeah, I try to hold if you can, just momentarily. That'd be my thoughts.
at the price, I like the sell, but I get it. And boys, number 8, the last one of the sells, Dylan Brown. Very intriguing one. A bit higher on the list than I expected, but I get it. 599k, dual position, 64 point per game average, break even of 97. Dezzy?
No, it's madness. He's averaging 64 points a game, and they're coming second last. Like they're not getting any worse from here. Realistically, he's still the second highest averaging 5'8" in the comp. Scored under 50, I think, once all season, which was about a 45, 46. Look, the ceiling's not there, but the base is still there. And like Spice said, Para don't want the spoon. He's going to have to come out. And with Moses coming back in, I'm not selling him. No.
Even then, the ceiling exists. We've seen it before. It's just like we haven't seen it this year. And I'm with you, mate. Rock solid. And there's just no 5'8" screaming out, I'm a far better pickup than you. Spy?
Mitchy Moses back as well. That's when he does his damage.
Yeah.
Opens up that left edge for him. Tigers around 27, 6 o'clock Friday. Pencil in 130 odd there to end your season and win your Supercoach.
Boys, trades and skippers for round 20. We'll start with you, Dezzy. You getting itchy feet for that little Cleary trade, or are you going to sit in your hands?
No, 0 trades. 100% certain no trades are happening this week. Absolutely not. I've said it before, but definitely no trades this week. I've got a solid 17 and
Free VC loop.
yeah,
crap.
free VC loop. There's no need to do it. Even if someone like Angus Crichton doesn't back up, I've got the second reserve that I can play in Sam Hughes or someone like that. So yeah, I'm sitting totally comfortable with 19 healthy players.
Good lad.
As for skippers, I think with the free VC loop, I have to go on Tedesco, which means I can't do it on Turbo, unfortunately. But yeah, VC on Teddy, probably C on Garrick, considering that he was ill. We found out that he was ill and still scored 100. That's alarm bells. So yeah, VC Teddy, C Garrick.
So the Manly play the second last game of the round. Who's the last game? Because geez, Tommy Turbo's attempting VC when you get a free crack at it.
Cowboys.
Cows and dogs. Do you have Kiraz?
I've got Kiraz, I've got Val Holmes. I'm assuming all the Cowboys players come in. Kiraz and Val Holmes, they're just...
Even straight see Turbo against the Titans.
Yeah, but I just don't trust Manly against the Titans. That even when we travelled up to Gold Coast earlier in the season, it was like 30 to 32. We only just scraped the win.
Yeah, but look how many points you scored. That's all that matters in Supercoach.
I know, but I've seen the Titans beat us comfortably, and we've only scored 1 or 2 tries at Brookvale. Every time I go, it seems to happen.
I remember in 2021, Manly played the Titans and Tommy scored 226 or something. But the scoreline was like 46 to 32 or something ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he'll probably score well, but I just think Tedesco's in superb form, and I think I said on the WhatsApp, I'm happy to captain Tedesco against teams like Melbourne and Penrith still, even though they're obviously powerhouse teams. He's looking so good. He's never looked better. Well, he's looking like 2019, 2020 Tedesco, really.
You've got the hot hand, mate. Stick to it.
Yeah.
Spite?
Yeah, boys, so I'm coming in with 19 as well this weekend, which I'm hoping's all right because it's not that easy, especially if there's a couple of laid outs of certain Origin players or someone like a Price or someone at Newey. But my scenario is my 18th and 19th are Sam Hughes and Brayley. I'd never really want to play Brayley again unless I have to. Sam Hughes, as we said, could hopefully do a job. He plays the last game, so if anyone's a laid out or a scratch I need to do, I can just flip that to Hughes. That is handy. In saying that, if Kai Pearce-Paul gets benched, it's going to provide me a headache. And I would love to get to Angus Crichton early if that was the case. But again, Gus is going to play 80 in Origin 3. Surely to goodness he's not going to play another 80 on Saturday night if he plays at all. So
I'd be... It has stunned me.
Oh, I know.
It surprised me after Origin 2, but anyway.
Put it like this. Pearce-Paul better start, then I have nothing to worry about. Drew Hutchinson's still there, who I'm going to downgrade. If necessary, I could grab Jesse Arthurs early.
Yep.
240k now, Walsh back, full strength Broncos. We've spoken about it on the weekend, but he seems like a lovely player at 7th centre. Playing this weekend, if needed. All that goes to plan. I don't have to do these certain things. Connor Watson in for Damien Cook, which I believe I'll do anyway. After chatting to you boys at Sounds to Play. And I think I want to give the Galvinator one more week, mate. I reckon he could do a job on South.
Good man.
But I could just go to Burton early as well. I don't mind both options. That's sort of where my head's at the moment. VC was with the C on Teddy at the moment, which is very hard to pass up. I'm worried if I know who my VC will be, to be honest. Fanua Blake or someone. See what happens.
Yeah. Very nice, mate. Matty, what do you got for us, mate?
Yes, so I unfortunately have Api Coruscant and Jaden Brayley, but I have enough cash to turn Brayley into Connor Watson.
Nice.
So I will be doing that. Captain, not even hesitation, straight on Cody Walker. Won't even bother with vice captain because I don't have any Raiders or Warriors. So there it is.
There you go, Cody. Back him in. For me, boys, a boost. Very exciting times. Lockie Galvin out. Fletcher Sharp out. And now that he's been on the bench, I did have Sean Lane out, but I'll probably flip Benny Trebojevic out and hold on to the Lane train. Somehow survives another week. He'll be my card to Angus Crichton at some point, though. Yeah. Coming in, and I've got a question for you boys, but I like Reece Walsh. I think Brisbane go on an absolute tear on the run home just because they have to. There's still a good football side in there. They get their Origin players back. They're desperate. Their draw's soft. I like Reece Walsh. I do have a little one up the sleeve that I can do. They've got a bye coming up. It's quite like being in a position with trades up the sleeve. I can play a bit of fullback roulette. So get him this week provided he backs up, which I expect him to, provided he gets through tomorrow night, okay. Knight then goes Doggies, but that's at Suncorp. Good defence, but it's at Suncorp. It helps. Titans, Cowboys. Then there's a round 24 bye, which is around about the time when Ponga has a bye. It might be the week before, and then the Knights have a great run home. So if it doesn't quite work out, flip him to Ponga then. But I'm hoping that those last 3 games of the season, Eels at Suncorp, Dolphins Suncorp, Storm Suncorp, round 27, every chance at resting. So I like Walsh. Here's the tricky one. I have my strong lean, but I'll get your thoughts. Oh, sorry, this isn't the tricky one. Jesse Arthur's in, who could also become Ali Leotow now that he's been named. I need to make a decision there. Arthur's 3-game average of about 19 points. I don't care. When Walsh is back in and the Broncos are full strength, they're a different team. 7th CT dub. I don't plan on playing him in all season, but I prefer to pay 40k extra for him than get enough there. Sweet. Cherry Evans or Matt Burton? I like the little Daly Cherry Evans play there. He's at 600k. He's got a break even of very low. It's about 3 or something. The draw's a little tricky like it is with Tommy Trbojevic, but the difference is Tommy's taken up that fullback slot. Ches, I'm not a Jerome Hughes owner and I'm not a Sam Walker owner, so it'll be Cleary next week to partner Cherry Evans for the run home. Knights this week, Titans, then Roosters. Sorry, Knights for last week. Titans this week at 4 Pines, great. Roosters, tough. The round 22 bye's awkward, but then Raiders, Warriors, Tigers, Doggies, Sharks. I don't mind a little Ches play. Who would you go, Dezzy, Burton or Cherry Evans?
It's an interesting one that you're getting him whilst getting Reece Walsh, because I think that most people who would get him would probably pair him with Turbo.
Yeah.
So it's a peculiar play that you're going for, and I like it. I very much like it. He's the top Supercoach scorer of all time. You're backing in the old guard here, so yeah. I mean, you can look at a few of the averages from seasons past: 79 in 2021, 66, 77 last year. He's a bit down on that this year, but yeah, he can definitely pull it out. He's got those huge scores in him. Probably more of those tons in him than Burton has, because the Bulldogs. I mean, both those teams, Bulldogs and Manly, are probably fighting out for that last. They're trying to steal that top 4 spot from Cronulla now that Hines is injured. So yeah, it is a big move. But yeah, I think Manly are going to try and attack their way to the top 4. Bulldogs are obviously defending their way. So
that is what is in my head at the moment.
Yeah.
They're looking ruthless in attack. And Tommy Turboback's only going to help it, I believe. The Doggies, they're a defence-minded team. Spy, who would you go?
I honestly think they'll end up about 2 or 3 apart average-wise. However, Burton doesn't have a bye. So that's a little swing. I reckon I lean to Burton by the barest of margins. And maybe it's just that bye factor. You get to play him when Ches can't play.
And my team stuck by that point that it's 1 week. It's not the end of the world. Like I can cover him.
Yeah, for sure.
I can cover him with a gun.
Some chance Ches doesn't back up after Origin. I assume he does, but if he's got bumps and bruises, you could still flip to Burton the game after, so that's fine.
Sweet.
I like them both, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not.
My gut says Manly, whether they win or lose games, just points on the run home. So I think I'm going to back it and run the Cherry Evans.
That Tigers game late in the year,
yeah.
Ches could go mental.
Captains, look, I'll be very tempted by Reece Walsh if I do get him in against Newcastle, despite being in Newcastle. James Tedesco's the obvious one there, though.
I rate Newey's defence full side. What it's worth.
Yeah,
I think they're not too bad. But yeah.
Teddy probably the safe play though. Let's see players get through Origin, how Walsh gets through Origin, who's going to back up, who is, and all sorts of things. But yeah, potentially a little cheeky Walsh play, but I mean Teddy's the safe one, isn't he? Despite being against Melbourne. Boys, a few questions, then we'll wrap it up for tonight's podcast. First one from Ross Man. Would you sell Lehigh Hopewade? He's got that low break even to get Tom Trbojevic this week, Dezzy.
Not sure. That's a really tough question, considering he outscored Turbo last week. Jeez. Yeah, I guess you have to.
I'd pull the trigger.
I wouldn't.
Take the cash.
Lehigh had like 1 million runs last week on the end of that back line.
He looks outstanding, yeah.
You could... Lehigh, who's out on the wing for Manly? Is he locked into left edge, you reckon, now? Every chance?
So Cole's gone for a month or so.
Yeah.
Potentially a little bit more.
Yeah, he could hold that spot. Would we actually listened on the radio, so it was really hard to tell, but the raps he was getting on ABC Grandstand were phenomenal. They couldn't stop raving about him. I looked at his work rate, it was huge. I think he might have had a couple offloads. Geez, if Manly are going to go as well as we're talking about, I wouldn't want to sell Lehigh at all while he's playing left wing. I'd hold him.
Yeah.
Find another way to Tommy.
Boys, one from Bill Mitchell, currently 23k overall. I haven't owned Teddy to this point, however, I need to make some moves. And Zigwala the Zag. I'm a sharp owner and I'm looking to move on to a Turbo or Walsh this week. Can we see merit in an anti-potting Teddy for the next 2 to 3 weeks and look to bring him in after the bye when their draw eases up, Spy?
I think I was sitting 23k and I just wanted to have a bit of a swing. Sure, why not? Like, you know what you're in for. It could hurt you bad, but it's not like you're bringing in scrubbers to replace him. And obviously on that bye week, the fullback you choose hopefully tons up and you gain some ground.
What about if you ranked 3k or 5k or 8k general? Could you anti-pot him for a few weeks? Storm this week in Melbourne, potentially, especially if the Roosters rest.
Could do it this week, definitely. Who else you got?
Penrith, right?
It's actually
it's not. It's a good run home.
It's
for
a
the
great
Roosters.
question.
They do have that bye coming up. I think round 23 though.
I think it's important we check pre-bye teams.
So, don't know why I'm doing your homework for you, Spy, but that's all right, mate.
You don't give me the questions.
So Storm this week into Manly, into the Dolphins, into the bye. So some big scores are incoming.
Melbourne, Manly,
Dolphins.
The issue is all the good fullbacks I probably want this week aren't necessarily playing or backing up, or it's very hard to go anti-Teddy. I don't love it, no.
Yeah.
I mean, at 23k, sure. At 2 or 3k, it's pretty...
I think you just find a way to get him the way he's going, hey. One from Deep Longstop. The Simpsons Meme King on Twitter, Deep Longstop. Puts out some good stuff.
Deep, he's
You're
good.
a huge fan, Spy.
Oh, look, he's good at what he does.
If named to start, which he has been, is Tom Starling an option as second hooker? All the numbers say yes. The fear of benching says no, because he's 299k, negative 31 break even, back-to-back scores of 52 and 80 in minutes of 76 and 68. I'd be too scared, Spy, that he gets benched.
Jeez, I do need a backup hooker.
I know, you can see it. 56 and 48 in base in those two games as well.
Big numbers.
What the big fella thinking?
You're rolling the dice. I wouldn't personally want to use a trade on a backup hooker. If I have to pay Brayley 1 week and copy his 25 or 30, I'll just cop it. But yeah, I mean, there's a bit of momentum there for Starlo.
Yeah. One from Gaz, Val Holmes or Hamiso Tabuai Fido will be trading out Blaze Talangi, Dezzy, Holmes or Hammer.
Val Holmes. Best centering in Supercoach.
I don't love either of them as buys, to be honest. Hammer's run home for the Dolphins are horrible.
Hammer's a no.
Val also has a very tough run home, but the majority of games are in Townsville. So of the two homes, but I think there's players with better draws.
Holmes by a mile. Two. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically every game in Queensland for them has the goal kicking, and Cowboys are pushing for that top 4 spot as well. I mean, what more could you ask for? I think if you go without Holmes, you're going to regret it big time.
Yeah.
They'll get the Tigers again in 3 weeks. It is at Leichhardt, but we saw what happened last week.
Yeah.
It's not trending well.
Sam Eves. Chris Randall. Is he a cheap Connor Watson? I don't know if you boys have looked at him, and yeah, as I said, I don't actually show you the questions. So he's punching out some good numbers, but
His work rate's up.
519k, break even of 32. He has, since going to big minutes, he has a 3-round average of 75. Last 3 games, 72 points in 73 minutes with 62 in base. 71 the week before that, 42 in base, scored a try. Week before that, 82, 51 in base, scored a try. You want your hooker, Spy? What do you reckon?
Going well. Do I trust it to continue? I'm always a bit reluctant late in the year to jump on a guy who could be benched or dropped the next week.
You want confidence in a trade.
But, as I've said, I think last week as well, the Titans are playing some really good footy. And if he's at the centre of that, then there's no reason why they want to flip him out.
Yep.
It's on the spot question, I don't know. It'd be filled with angst if I did it, but he could be a marvel.
Yeah.
He could be in the Max Plath style of just getting the job done week in, week out. But yeah, I don't love it.
Yeah, not for me, but I get it. One from Hannah Rasmussen. 12 trades and 1 boost. Is that enough for the run home? Dezzy, that one's for you, mate.
That's plenty, Hannah.
You are cruising, Hannah. Hold on to it. One from Louis Baz. We know Timmy loves Cam Murray. Is it time? was all in caps as well, so there's a lot of emphasis. I want Cam Murray. For all the reasons we're scared about Damien Cook before, I just think why he's had his injury issues this year. He'll play big minutes in Origin. I'm still considering him next week. I just think, again, minutes could be the issue on the run home.
There's no reason to push him.
No,
that's the problem.
There's not. But he's still Cam Murray, and I do love him. So,
See you next year, Cam.
Boys, one from Mike Roke. If they had a fight, who would win, Batman or Spider-Man? Winner fights Curtis Scott. Dezzy, Batman v Spider-Man.
I think Batman's winning that all day. He's got the ability to cut through Spider-Man's webs at any point in time.
It's true.
Got some good gadgets.
Yeah.
Can Robin fight with him, or is it like a real mono-a-mono?
No,
one
the
on
question
one?
doesn't have Robin.
But
Batman
if you're battling on the streets of like Gotham City, though, you know Robin's nearby if needed. So I'm going to count him out.
Batman v Spider-Man, 1v1, Hell in a Cell.
In a cell, Batman for sure. He's got the gadgets. On the street, Spider-Man stands a chance, but I'll probably lean to Batman as well. Got the experience.
Batman doesn't have that much aside from just being a tough bastard.
Yeah, tough and nous.
Gadgets. He's smart.
It's hard to go past tough and nous.
Yeah. Spider-Man basically just shoots web at you, doesn't he?
He's he's science smart though, so he's creative. It's a good battle.
Matty?
Spider-Man's shorter than Jai Grey, Tom Holland, so Batman all day.
Fair enough. Yeah. It'd be like Jai Grey trying to tackle Nelson Solomon.
Yeah, exactly right.
It's not going to happen.
Spider-Man also has Spidey sense, so he knows when stuff's coming. It's not as easy as it looks for Batman.
Boys, let's wrap that up for the Round 20 SC Playbook podcast. Wrapped it up in style, I must say so myself. Dezzy, good luck this week on your charge to the top spot, mate, and good luck trying not to trade.
Yeah, gonna need it, boys.
Spot.
Need it.
We'll
Thank
message you,
mate.
Dezzy. Going well, mate. We'll follow you home.
Yeah, we'll back you. Thank you, mate.
Cheers, boys.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Good luck this weekend.